السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك وبالآخرة هم يوقنون أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون. صدق الله العظيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. Yesterday we talked about Surah Fatiha and how each and every verse of Surah Fatiha reminds us to create that bond with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, create that nisbat, that ihsan with which we live our life according to the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to live. In Surah Fatiha, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches us a dua, and that dua is Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. And then right after this dua, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us, I don't want to use the word description, but divides the creation in two groups. One group is the one that received the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which are included in An'amta alayhim, Siratal Ladina An'amta alayhim, that's one group. And the other group is the one that received the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Without going into details, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kind of gave ishara, gave indication to us that Sirat, Ihdina as-Sirat al-Mustaqim, that as-Sirat al-Mustaqim is the one on whom I have favored. That's it, nothing else. Who are the people whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had favored? The entire Quran talks about those people. The rest of the Quran talks about those people. And who are the people who received the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and why they did it? The rest of the Quran talks about that as well. So for those who are interested in finding out who are the people, alladhina an'amta alayhim, those whom you have favored, start reading and you will find out the description and the actions and the attitude and their bonding with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you are looking for hidayah, follow their style. Follow them. And if you want to find out who received the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and why they did it, what was their life like, what happened, what exactly they did to receive the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the leftover Quran is going to be talking about that as well. The next surah begins, the name of the surah is Surah Baqarah, because someone was killed in Bani Israel and they were unable to find the murderer. They came to Syeduna Musa alayhi salatu wassalam, being he was the Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, hoping that he would be able to tell them who the killer was. And then the story goes on. I don't want to take up the time in discussing that. We'll keep it limited to, inshaAllah, what I have in my mind to share. Specifically talking about as-Sirat al-Mustaqim and the word ihdi, the word hidayah. So this is the reason the surah gets its name, because of the mention of the story of the Baqarah, the cow, in response to their inquiry to Musa alayhi salatu wasalam about the killer. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered them to sacrifice a cow. And then Bani Israel had no connection with their prophet, therefore they had no connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they kept on asking questions and question and question. This surah was revealed in the early days of Hijrah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam had already spent about 12 or 13 years in Makkah, where he was dealing with mushrikeen who believed in Allah but with partnership. Mushrikeen, that's why they are called mushrik, because they were adding partners to Allah. So they believed in Allah but with partnership. This tawheed was new for them. The kalima la ilaha illallah was unique for them. And they had a hard time understanding that how could Allah be only one? And the concept of ba'ath ba'dal maut, raising up after death, was very unique for them. So during the time that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was in Makkah Mukarramah, because he was dealing with mushrikeen, the message of the surah that were revealed in Makkah talked about dalail of tawheed, references of tawheed, logic reasoning, why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not need any partners. It talked about dalail of nubuwwah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam's prophethood was also explained and logically proved. And also dalail of akhirah. That is what a general message in all the surah that were revealed in Makkah Mukarramah. When Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam migrated to Medina Munawwara, now the people that he was dealing with were aware of the concept of oneness of Allah, although some groups among Yahud were of the opinion that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a son, and Quran talks about that too. But majority of them believed that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one without any partners. They believed in prophethood, both Nasara and Bani Israel. They believed in Ba'ath Ba'd al-Maut. The matter was different now. The matter was making them believe Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was the last prophet. So most of the surahs that were revealed in Medina Munawwara talked about Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam being the last prophet of Allah, and also talked about the menaces and the disobedience of Bani Israel, both with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and their prophets, and kind of remind them that this is why Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam has been sent now, and you believe in him. Surah Baqarah talks about a lot of masail, since it's a Madani surah, and in addition to proving prophethood of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam to Bani Israel and Nasara, the Christians, now Muslims were established ummah. A society was being formed, and therefore laws were needed. Laws of marriage, laws of divorce, laws of buying and selling, laws of drinking, food and beverages. All of these laws were being established in Medina Munawwara. Zakat, the laws of zakat was established. Without going into all of those details, what Surah Baqarah talks about, even though I have good about 10 topics and I don't want to take up time in there, I'd like to talk about just one. It's not even a word, you know that? It's huruf. The very first verse of Surah Baqarah. Alif Lam Mim. Because Hidayah starts from believing in what is Alif Lam Mim. You know, we ask for Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim, right? Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim, meaning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us knowledge of what is Sirat Mustaqim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would start ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابِ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. That's where the surah would start. The surah did not start from there. The surah started from not even a word. That's why I was about to utter the word, but it's not even a word. These are huruf. And these are called huruf muqatta'at. Muqatta'at meaning juda juda, in pieces. Qata'a, sila rahmi, qata rahmi, cutting. These are letters. These are separate letters. Alif Lam Mim. Anywhere else in the Quran, wherever these words don't come in the beginning, how are these three letters pronounced? Alam. Alam nashrah laka sadrak. Alam tara kayfa fa'ala rabbuka bi ashabil fil. In the beginning of the surah, wherever these letters come, you cannot pronounce them, alam. They have to be pronounced Alif Lam Mim. How many of us believe that they don't have any meaning? Does the word Alif Lam Mim have any meaning or no? Yes, no, maybe? Think. And that's where Hidayah comes from. That's where the very first lesson of Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim is coming. Of course, these letters have words, meaning. We don't know, and mankind cannot find out the meaning of it until the Day of Judgment. Only Allah knows what is the meaning of Alif Lam Mim. Only Allah knows what is the meaning of Alif Lam Ra, Kaf Ha Ya Ain Sad, Qaf, Sad, Noon, Taha, Tasin, Yasin. We cannot find out. As human being, as intelligent as we can be, as sophisticated that we can be, we can never learn the meaning of these huruf muqatta'at. Yet we must believe in it. We must believe in limited knowledge that we will ever have. No matter how knowledgeable we get, we can never get to the not even first letter of what it means. What is the meaning of the letters Alif Lam Mim? Some of the scholars are of the opinion that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was told. Some of the scholars are of the opinion that no, he was not told. Even he didn't know what is the meaning of the huruf muqatta'at throughout the Quran. And that's where I want every one of us to think that this is where belief in the entire Quran begins from. That these letters have some meaning that we don't know and we will never know. Only Allah knows what they mean. And if He wants, He will disclose it on the Day of Judgment. If He doesn't want, He will not disclose it on the Day of Judgment. It's up to Him. We must believe in it. Without believing in huruf muqatta'at, right there, our first step towards getting guidance, if we have any doubt, we cannot take that first step. We cannot create that master and slave bonding between us and Allah. We cannot take that first step of hidayah Ya Allah, you guide me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would start from, instead of Alif Lam Mim, He would start from Dhalikal Kitab. You want guidance? This is the book. There is no doubt, and this is Hidayah for the Muttaqeen. Alif Lam Mim. Why? Believe that our knowledge will always remain limited, and the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was, is, and always remain unlimited. And once we start believing in that, we are going to believe everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has to mention in the Quran. Bani Israel used to boast about their knowledge. Bani Israel used to boast about being people of the book. And they used to make fun of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam being Ummi. Ummi simply means just to define it, the baby who's just born out of the mother, he or she doesn't know anything, nothing. This is what Ummi is, nothing. Yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made this attribute, this quality, this title of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam being something to be proud of for all of us. How can a person who is Ummi, who has never seen any school, who has never had any teacher from the human beings? Of course, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had a teacher, and his teacher was Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam. How can he, I'm using the word produce for a reason, produce something like this? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not produce this. Rasulullah sallallahu, this is not man-made stuff here. This is Kalamullah. So being Ummi and then having this Quran coming out of his blessed tongue was a sign that he was a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever he was reciting in the form of Quran was nothing but Kalamullah. This is another lesson for us to learn from just the word Alif Lam Mim. That Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was Ummi. He had no idea how to read and write. He never went to any school. Yet when he would recite, it was unbelievable that how can you recite this much? And you would have to believe that he was a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or else, none of this would have been possible, because he never went to school. We go to school, we spend 4 years, 8 years, 10 years in school. A lot of us don't have a good hands-on how to write even a small little letter, We don't learn it. We may be good in math, we may be good in analyzing something else, we may be good in science, but when it comes to writing 2 sides, 800 words essay, we can't write it because we're not good at it. You can't write it, then how can Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam would have said all of this being illiterate? For no other reason that he did not produce any of this. This is Kalamullah, which was revealed on Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam through Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam. After this, inshallah. Moving forward, years back, upstairs, when Hazrat was here, I would say, I'm talking about 2003 maybe. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increased the status of Hazrat make his grave wider and brighter. Ameen Ya Rabbal Alameen. A lot of attention I received from him. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me the ability and the tawfiq to pass on the goal, the desire, the dream of Hazrat. Ameen Ya Rabbal Alameen. So I was upstairs, and at that time I had just started Dars-e-Nizami. So someone came up to me and he asked me the meaning of some verse, and I said, I don't know. He said, you are Hafiz al-Quran? I said, yeah, I'm Hafiz al-Quran. I don't know Arabic. So he said, so what's the benefit? طوطے کی طرح رٹ لیا, کوئی فائدہ ہی نہیں ہے. Of course, at that time, he was an elder person. I think even I would not give the answer to him right now. He's still alive. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless him in his age. Bless him in his age. So what is the answer of this thing? That ایک بچہ قرآن پاک حفظ کرتا ہے, دوسرا آ کے کہتا ہے قرآن پاک حفظ کرنے کا فائدہ کیا ہوا, طوطے کی طرح رٹ لیا. بلال, مولانا بلال, طوطے کی طرح رٹنا سمجھتے ہو کیا مطلب؟ ہاں اس کو کچھ معلوم ہی نہیں ہے, طوطا بولتا ہی رہتا ہے بس. اس کو جو سکھا دیا وہ وہی بولتا ہے تو طوطے ہی کی طرح رٹنا, حقیقت میں طوطے ہی کی طرح رٹنا ہے. بٹ دا کوشچن از what is the benefit. یہ سوال, اس کا فائدہ کیا ہے؟ طوطے ہی کی طرح رٹنا ہے, اس کا فائدہ ہے کیا؟ ہمیں الف لام میم کے معنی معلوم ہے؟ Do we know the meaning of alif lam mim? If you don't know the meaning of alif lam mim, what's the point of learning alif lam mim, right? Then we shouldn't worry about learning it. Because if Quran memorization will benefit only when we learn the meaning of it, and that means that if we don't know the meaning of alif lam mim and other huruf muqatta'at, there are about 11, 12 of them, that means that we don't have to memorize them, we don't have to learn them, because we never understood, we never know what the meaning is. In fact, the biggest mufassir would never know what the meaning would be. So what's the benefit? There is a benefit. Memorization of Quran has its own merits and has its own benefits. And on the day of judgment, یہ چھوٹے بچے بڑے حضرات جو صرف حافظ ہیں نا, طوطے کی طرح رٹے ہوئے حافظ, مخلوق دیکھے گی کہ ان کا حال کیا ہوگا. مخلوق دیکھے گی کہ جن کی اولادوں میں حفاظ کرام بچے ہیں وہ کن درجوں پر فائز ہیں. پوری مخلوق دیکھے گی کہ جب حافظ سے کہا جائے گا کہ پڑھتا جا. جنت ایک حدیث میں آتا ہے کہ جنت میں داخلے کے بعد حافظ قرآن سے کہا جائے گا پڑھتا جا اور چڑھتا جا, جہاں رکو گے وہاں تمہاری منزل. Your last stop is where you stop reciting. تو یہ طوطے کی طرح پڑھنا دنیا میں یہ بیکار نہیں ہے, یہ بہت کام کا ہے, بہت مفید ہے. والدین کو, بچے کے والدین کو خامخواہ میں تاج نہیں پہنایا جائے گا. جن بچوں کے والدین نے محنتیں کی ہیں اپنے بچوں کو حفظ کروانے پر, ان سے پوچھیں. We think that the child is memorizing Quran. The whole house is memorizing Quran. Everybody, mother, father, brother, sister, grandpa, grandmother, everybody's schedule runs according to that child who is in the madrasa. Isn't that true, Dr. Sahab? If you have to attend the party, you have to make sure that your son's sabak is not affected. I have to make sure that too, by the way. You cannot be late. A lot of times people have seen me rushing right after saying salam for some farz namaz, because I'm in fear that if I take 5 more minutes, my son will never be found other than his own bed, sleeping. Kids look for ways to get away, right? their kids. تو والدین کو جو تاج پہنایا جائے گا قیامت کے دن وہ ایسے ہی نہیں پہنایا جائے گا. پنجابی میں کہتے ہیں ایویں ہی نہیں پہنایا جائے گا. بڑے پاپڑ بیلنے پڑتے ہیں والدین کو. جن گھروں میں والدین حفاظ ہیں ان کو بھی پاپڑ بیلنے پڑتے ہیں, ہمیں بھی پاپڑ بیلنے پڑتے ہیں. جن گھروں میں علماء کرام ہیں ان کو بھی پاپڑ بیلنے پڑتے ہیں. بلکہ حقیقت بتاؤں, ہمیں زیادہ پاپڑ بیلنے پڑتے ہیں, ہمیں زیادہ محنت کرنی پڑتی ہے, بہت زیادہ محنت کرنی پڑتی ہے. بہرحال اللہ تعالیٰ سارے والدین کی کوششوں کو, کاوشوں کو قبول فرمائے. جو حضرات اپنے بچوں کو مدارس میں ڈلواتے ہیں, بڑے مجاہدے کا کام ہے بھائی, بہت مجاہدے کا کام ہے. لیکن اس کے نتائج, اس کا جو گفٹ ملے گا نا وہ بھی شاندار ہوگا. اگر یہ چیز یہاں پر شاندار ہے تو یہ وہاں پر بھی شاندار ہوگی. اللہ سبحانہ و تعالی اس کی یعنی گلمس کا کوئی موازنہ نہیں ہے, لیکن اللہ سبحانہ و تعالی اس کا ایک تھوڑا سا اشارہ جو ہے نا وہ دنیا ہی میں دے دیتے ہیں. آپ کے بچے چاہے جتنے بھی اسمارٹ ہوں پبلک اسکول کے اندر, کوئی ان کے پاس نہیں آئے گا اپنے بچوں کو لے کر کے یار ذرا میرے بچے کے لیے دعا کر دینا. لیکن آپ کا 13 سال کا 14 سال کا بچہ اگر حافظ ہو جاتا ہے, آپ کے بھائی آئیں گے اپنے بچوں کو لے کر, آپ کی جو ہیں بہنیں آئیں گی, آپ کے دوسرے رشتہ دار آئیں گے, ذرا اپنے بیٹے سے کہنا کہ میرے بچے کے لیے دعا کرے. یہ عزت مل رہی ہے ابھی 13-14 سال کے بچے کو, شروع ہی سے لیڈرشپ مل گئی. اللہ سبحانہ و تعالیٰ نے یہیں سے امام کا رتبہ دے دیا اس کو. لیڈرشپ تو بڑا عجیب سا ورڈ ہے نا, لیٹس یوز دا ورڈ امام. اللہ تعالیٰ نے 13-14 سال کے بچے کو ہی امام کا درجہ دے دیا, یہیں پر ہی مل گیا. وہ بچہ کہیں جا رہا ہو, ایک چھوٹا بچہ ادھر بیٹھا ہوا تھا جمعے کی نماز میں, بہت پیارا قرآن پڑھتا ہے وہ. میرا جی چاہ رہا تھا کہ جمعے کے بعد اس بچے کو بلاؤں اور اس سے قرآن سنواؤں یہاں پر. آپ کی آنکھوں میں آنسو آ جاتے ہیں. ہمارے یہاں پڑھتا ہے ماشاءاللہ, چھوٹا سا ہے, بہت پیارا قرآن پڑھتا ہے. اللہ تعالیٰ اس کو قبول کر لے دین کی خدمت کے لیے, آمین یا رب العالمین. بہرحال ظاہر ہے پورے قرآن پاک یا پوری سورت کی تفسیر کرنا تو ایک بہت مشکل ہے اس لمیٹڈ ٹائم میں. تو ہر سورت یا ہر سپارے میں جو خاص بات اللہ سبحانہ و تعالیٰ دل میں ڈالیں گے, میں انشاءاللہ یہ وقت ان خاص باتوں کے لیے استعمال کر لیں گے. جتنا بھی اللہ تعالیٰ نے زندگی دی ہے, جتنا بھی ہمیں وقت دیا ہے, ہم کوشش کریں کہ ان لمحات کو اللہ تعالیٰ کا قرب حاصل کرنے کے لیے وصول کریں. پورا قرآن ہمیں اس بات کی تعلیم دے رہا ہے کہ جنہوں نے اپنا کنیکشن, جنہوں نے اپنی بانڈنگ اپنے نبی کے ساتھ, اس کے صحابہ کے ساتھ بنائی اور ان کے ذریعے سے اللہ تعالیٰ کے ساتھ بنائی, وہ جم گئے, وہ بن گئے. اور جنہوں نے اپنے تعلق کو توڑ دیا یا اپنے تعلق کو کمزور کیا ڈس اوبیڈینس کے ذریعے سے, یا جو ہے وہ مذاق اڑا کر یا سوالات کر کے, آبجیکشنز تنقید کر کے. بنی اسرائیل تنقید ہی تو کیا کرتے تھے, ٹھیک ہے, ہر چیز کے اوپر تنقید ہوا کرتی تھی, ہر چیز کے اوپر سوال ہوا کرتا تھا. گائے کا جب حکم ملا تو کہنے لگے کیا ہے وہ گائے کیسی ہونی چاہیے. پھر جب بتایا بھائی گائے ایسی ہونی چاہیے, تو کہنے لگا اس کا رنگ کیسا ہونا چاہیے. یہ کوئی سوال پوچھنے کا سوال ہے, رنگ کیسا ہونا چاہیے. پھر جب رنگ بھی بتا دیا کہ رنگ بھی ایسا ہو, پھر کہا اچھا پھر اور کوئی اور صفت. اس قسم کے سوالات اچھے نہیں ہیں. اس قسم شرعی احکام میں اس قسم کے سوالات اچھے نہیں ہیں. اللہ تعالیٰ نے جو چیز ہمیں بتا دی, جس طریقے سے بتا دی, ہمیں اس کے اوپر من وعن ایز اٹ از ایمان لانا چاہیے, اور یہی ہم سے مطلوب ہے, یہی ہم سے ریکوائرڈ ہے. وآخر دعوانا ان الحمد للہ رب العالمین.